Trollord Games. Join the fray.
Alright, I think we are live. I believe we are. How's it going, Perry, Epi, and Lord? Thank you for the subscription, Perry. Very much appreciated. We are here, of course. How's it going, man? We are here, of course, for Ask Me Anything. Or whatever today's mess is called. Lord only knows. Alright. I think I got the video right this time, at least. So there is that. How's it going, Ultra Magnus? It's always something. It's always a challenge. How's it going, Retro? Particularly me trying to figure out how to use technology that I know is good for us. I know it's a good thing. It gets better and better, but I guess my 18th century brain doesn't want to accept that. Let's go. Does it say that on a video or something? How's it going, Bifford? All right. Good deal. All right, we got some kind of roasted pork tonight. I think we're having something. No, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know what I'm doing. But we are here for Ask Me Anything. It is March 2nd, 2021. And we've got all kinds of stuff just flying around. Kickstarters, products, things getting dropped by the wayside that I'm trying to keep, keep in the thing. It just hit me this morning. I was out trimming books. Todd did a whole bunch of binding this morning. I went out behind him, started cutting the books, and I realized that we did not put out M2, is that the even staff for 5th edition? We did for Castles and Crusades, we did not for 5th edition. So I gotta get that text over to Jason Vay so he can get it and bring it up to speed so we can get it out in 5th edition. So it's just, there's so many things going on around here, which is good. How's it going, Dingolf and Kothar Dorans? Hey, Geek Preacher, what's up? No RPG tonight as GM stuck at work, but it gave me time to do work to the house to get ready for photos Thursday morning as coming to the market to sell. Ah, there you go. That's good. Take advantage of the time. Get stuff fixed up. And, you probably should focus on selling the house. That probably should be way up there on the list. Hey, Great Babe. God, that light seems really bright today. Everything seems bright. I think I had a stroke or something. I don't know. Who can say? Who can say? Well, my wife could. She's a neurologist. There you go. But we are here for Ask Me Anything. So, as always, jump into the channel feed here and ask me any kind of questions, and I'll do my best to answer it, whether it's Kickstarters, products, industry stuff, game stuff, The Walking Dead. I watched the, what are they calling it? Season 10.C or 10C. I don't know what the hell they're calling it, but it was pure awesome. I got to tell you, last night's episode, which would have been Sunday's night's episode, it harkened back to some of the best episodes of The Walking Dead. It was just really, really, really good. I was just super stoked. What a mess. Yes, I will echo Tim. If you have not already, please give us a follow. We are just a few follows away from having 1,000 followers. That'd be great to close out tonight's show and hit that milestone. So if you have not, please give us a follow. That would be very, very cool and very much appreciated. What is the status of the 3rd edition of Amazing Adventures? So, I alerted Jason some months ago, really about it, maybe 8-9 months ago, that we're up for a 3rd printing of the Amazing Adventures, a Siege Engine version, and he dove into it immediately. And I know he's been doing all kinds of overhauls, fixing little things here, little things there. Nothing's going to essentially change. It'll be the same thing with Castles and Crusades, where we don't change the rules or give you a whole new rule set, yada, blah, blah, blah. It'll still be perfectly compatible, so far as I understand, with the first one, but he's just going to tighten things up, clean it somewhat. We're going to get a new cover on there, some new interior art, and we're going to shoot for an all-cover, yes, 3rd printing, Perry, all-color, full-color version of Amazing Adventures, which I'm pretty stoked about. I'm super happy with Amazing Adventures 5e. That turned out really pretty. Great book. So now we're going to dive into and try to do that for the Siege Engine version. All right. Our moderator Tim is with us, but his internet's is dragging a little bit, so he'll be in and out. But at any rate, yeah. So he's working on that, and as soon as we put it into the schedule, my guess is third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. We've got the Robert E. Howard thing, which I've pushed off out of March and into April. I don't want to start any more Kickstarters until we get some of these others wrapped up. Starship Warden, Monster Treasure of Erd, Castle Keeper's Guide. These guys got to get put to bed. So we've kind of pushed everything down the line a little bit so we can focus on getting these things done, which we have made a lot of progress towards, which is really, really good. So, Amazing Adventures, third printing, third, fourth quarter, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. Let's see, that's Pretty Poggers in jail. I don't know what any of that means, King, but I'll go with it. So, what all is in the works at the moment? Good Lord. So, we've got Monsters and Treasures of Erd 5th edition, which we're finalizing now and hope to have it print ready by Friday and at the printers by Monday. Starship Warden, which should be finalized this evening, and we'll send it out to the backers. And again, I'll do a kind of a last look over to make sure everything looks pretty. And then print ready by Friday and off to the printers on Monday. After that's Castle Keeper's Guide. We brought in a second editor to help us out. It's just a huge text. There's just so much involved with it. We're going to kind of fast forward that thing and get that sucker done. The CKG's been under print for 4 or 5 months now, and we got to get that sucker out. We're still waiting on some art from it, so there's CKG's deep into the works. Then there's the Adventure Spellbook that will include, we've already laid it out, except it doesn't have the rune lore material in it. And I was putting in 200, it's 160 or 200, I can't remember now, new rune spells. Those will all go into it, and I've finished all but 20 of those. Now they need to be cleaned up a little bit. So that should be landing. I'm hoping to have those, I was hoping to have it done today. That failed miserably. I'm going to shoot for having that done tomorrow. And in the Player's Handbook, of course, Peter and I have already kind of got the layout and how we want it to go. We just need to dive into it, doing the CKG first, get that done. Primarily because it was the older Kickstarter, and also we're completely sold out of Castle Keeper's Guides. And we still have, I don't know, about 4 boxes of Player's Handbooks left. So we got a tiny, tiny little bit of Player's Handbooks left to sell. So it's holding on by a hair. Then I think I could probably get some from distributors if I needed to, pull them back and whatnot. So what's after that? So then there's the expanded classes book. That book is finished. It just needs laid out. What have we got on after that? I'm missing a big one in there. Oh, the NPC Almanac. So the NPC Almanac has been pouring in droves, which is great. And King Kothar has jumped on board to help edit that. We brought him on board. He went through a pretty good testing regimen with Tim to make sure he sees what we want to do and become part of the team. So that's really cool. And he's already deep into I think he's down to Fighter or something. And Davis is still dumping those files on me, so the NPC Almanac is moving forward as well. Everything is just rolling down the line. And then there's a bunches of little projects. Obviously, Royal Anvil that we're working on, the material for the Patreon that we're working on. Then we've got, and I was supposed to get something to Tim today. I think I've got it somewhere. I don't know where. I think it's still in Davis's Skype. And then there's M3 for Castles and Crusades and M2 for 5th edition. Those need to be done. And I have started working on the Marbeline Coast for the World of Erd. Right there. So, yeah, it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. How will Victorious tie into AA, if at all? So Victorious is creeping towards a second printing as well. And I've got to talk to Mike about this and see what he wants to do. I kind of turned over work to him, hiring, his wife is a fantastic graphic design artist. Elizabeth is just fantastic. And Mike is a fantastic writer. So I kind of hired them to manage the Victorious, but I know Texas, of course, has been overwhelmed with snow and ice and everything else, and I haven't had a good solid communication with them lately. I need to reach out and figure out what we want to do with the Victorious. Victorious, in its present iteration, verges or meanders away from the Siege Engine a little bit, and I don't really want it to. I want it to be brought into the fold. So I need to talk to Mike about that and see where we're going on the future of that, because it's a great game. It really, really is a great game. So after the charity game we played in, and you've foiled my plans again, what made you decide to go with not being able to move and take an action Can you move and attack, or is it just you can't move and cast a spell? No, you can't move and cast a spell. You gotta, you get one action. You can move as an action, or attacking is an action in Castles and Crusades. Now, sometimes I will let a little bit happen, you know, simultaneously, like pulling a blade out while you're this, and maybe if it's just 4 feet, you can take a swing. I'll give you 4 or 5 feet. I'll give you a -2 on the swing, even though you're closing somewhat. So I'll kind of mesh it together. But with spellcraft, since spellcraft really isn't a forward-moving action, it's either you're casting the spell or you're not casting the spell. So if you're moving, that's what you're doing, and it gets a little dicey. But sometimes in the heat of the moment, I'll let it slide here and there, or I'll change it. So when you're playing with me, there's never going to be any insanely hard and fast rules for stuff like that. By and large, there are, but there will be. I'll deviate from it frequently for the action and for the story and stuff like that. Hope that answers your question. I vaguely remember what was... I can't remember what spell you were trying to do, but I vaguely remember it. Good morning, world. Simple rules question. Do saving throws have a challenge level to add to the TN? Yeah. So the saving throw, if it should be in the module or whatever that you're running, or if a wizard's casting a fireball spell, the saving throw, the CL is going to be... the challenge level is going to be the same as the wizard's level, or the monster's doing an ability that you're saving against. Poison, that was one of the problems in the 1st through 7th printing. Poisons did not come with a CL. I have fixed that for the 8th printing. I went in and gave each of them a CL, so that when you're making a save against a poison, you know what the CL is. So that's been fixed. So yes, Mr. Obadiah, they are supposed to have a CL. Unless your CK just wants you to do a straight up set. Yes, I'm very happy. I'm very, very anxious to get the CKG back into the fold. I do not like it. Do not like it being out of the fold, I guess. Speaking of rune spells, are the rune spells in Codex Nordica compatible with the rune mark? Not really. I think I once dove in and tried to kind of tweak them somewhat. But the rune, and they may be, I haven't looked at them in a while, but I don't think they are. Last time I looked at them, and like I said, it was a while ago. And the rune spells, as I've written them, and I know this has gotten a few people, upset's not the right word, but it's challenged a few people. The rune spells, as they're written, are really kind of written so that they can have a broad interpretation, so that you can kind of manipulate and do a little bit more, a little bit less, or whatever. Or the CK can do a little bit, allow it to do a little bit more, or allow it to do a little bit less, or make it do a little bit less. So the CK, the runes, I'm trying to keep a little bit ambiguous, I guess is the word. I just finished the Dream runes. These are going to play right into that. A lot of ambiguous stuff there. But honestly, can't off the top of my head. I think I looked at those when we came out, when we released Codex Nordica, and they weren't very compatible. But I hadn't looked at it in a while. So Lord knows. Let's see, where did the whiteboard go to? I tossed it. I wasn't updating it enough, and it was occupying wall space. We had already kind of shifted it to digital anyways, where it's much easier to update. So it hung there, I think, for about 2 months without me making any changes on it. And generally speaking, if something sits still in my life for 6 months, I get rid of it. Unless it's decorative or whatever, but because it doesn't have a purpose, it needs to go. And that whiteboard it had been on the border for a while, and it's gone. I kept a little bitty whiteboard, though, so I could make notes to myself. Let's see. Well, we sure could have considered 2 wyverns. The heat of the moment. Is that was where that was? Yeah. Yeah, that got pretty dicey. I thought, was it Willie? I can't remember who was about to get drowned. They were getting stompled to death. I see. Any plans to support the Fantasy Age system? I've been asked to GM, and I would like to run A0 Rising Knight for my group, but my homebrew conversions are usually unbalanced. I don't... I have talked about this before. I'm looking up Fantasy Age right now. Let's see. Okay, nope. I have not. I'm not, unless I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm not really sure. I'd have to look into that, Doran. I'm not sure how that works. It looks like it's its own game, but I might be looking at something wrong. or they have a very open system, like the Siege Engine, or who is it? Savage? Savage Worlds? Yes? No, that doesn't sound right. When I get myself to call a troll, we're all trolls, King. Was trying to drop a web on them and thwart your plans to have them flying. Well, now you did drop the web on the one. I do remember that. And it gummed him up for a little bit because you got his wings or his head. Now I can't remember. It's been too long. Let me clarify my question on saving throws. I'm specifically puzzled by Ring of Invasion. I assume you mean evasion. It says the player who is attached and makes a saving throw based on dex to avoid the attack. Man, I hate reading rules. Man, I got halfway through that and my brain was like, meow. Just absolutely meow. See, it says the player who is attached and makes a saving throw based on dex to avoid the attack. So would the CL be the hit dice? Yes. So the CL would be the hit dice or the level of the attacking creature. That's who you're making the save against. Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Let's see. Broad interpretations of anything in CNC turn my players into demon trolls of destruction. Well, you know, it can be challenging for a storied castle keeper like yourself, who's, you know, experienced and very capable, to have your players come at you with broad interpretations of things. I know exactly what you mean. And I got to tell you, so the guy, Chris Harris, one of my players, he has bought into the whole thing behind the rune lore with a gusto, because he hates, like me, he hates to read this stuff. So he'll skim it and roll. And it's awesome because he'll take these things and he just combines them. And the whole idea behind the rune mark. So the class has gotten a lot of great response. People have really enjoyed the class. Technically, it works very well. But for me, it's a little bit, and I wrote the class, I created the class, but for me, it's a little bit technical at the table. And there's so many kind of things you got to kind of to follow, which I don't care for so much when I'm playing a character. Obviously, when other people are doing it, I don't care. If they love it, that's great. So that's good. But the idea behind the Rune Mark, which is a class created for Castles and Crusades, for those of you who don't play the game CNC, that's a class created in the Adventurer's Backpack for Castles and Crusades. And it's basically someone who uses magical runes to do kind of the same thing the wizards do. However, I've written the runes and I've kind of deviated away from damage spells and the typical fireball or whatever, knock spell or whatever it is. Trying to use more role-playing elements, more imaginative elements, more pushing the limits of what magic could do within a sphere. With that in mind, the idea is you take multiple runes and you cast them not so much simultaneously, but in conjunction with one another. This round I cast the Binding rune, this round I cast this one, whatever it is. I couldn't remember any of the runes. But, so that's kind of the idea behind them. And Chris has taken this with an absolute gusto and run with it, which is fantastic because, on the one hand, as a DM, GM, CK, you're going to say, oh, now they're going to just make up crazy shit and throw it at me, which that certainly happens. But on the other hand, because they're pushing this wall of the believable and what this magic can do as a game master, it gives you an opportunity to actually slip more into, to have this spell to have a greater impact story-wise or whatever it is that you're doing in the whole context of the game. I have found it's very liberating, is an easy way to put it. It's much more liberating than just having the casting time, area of effect, and damage. Now it's kind of got this imaginative feel to it, and I restrict it. When Chris tries to do X with it, it works, but if he tries to do Y and Z, it doesn't work, this type of stuff. So I'm as reactive as he is creative. I don't know, it's very good, and it's where the rune magic, where it will remain. I've looked hard at it, seen some criticisms of it, and talked to some people about it, about making it very technical and bringing it all into the realm of the not believable but scientific or whatever it is. And I don't want to do any of that. I don't want any of that. I wanted to play like a fantasy novel reads. Gandalf never really casts any spells, does he? I mean, he does the light thing with the Nazgul, he stands tall sometimes. He just doesn't really cast spells per se. And I love the Vancian magic system, so I don't want to get rid of that. But I want to add something to it, add a module to it, and that's essentially what the rune magic has done. Let's see, have you ever read Glenn Cook's Black Company novels? The first three are especially fantastic. Cook is a criminally overlooked writer. I have read one of his long ago. I may have to revisit that. I got fired up reading fiction again, reading the Tolkien stuff, so I may have to check that out. But I know I've read one. It's on my shelf in there somewhere. Using magic to manipulate the world instead of just churning damage is a lot of fun. It is, Commander, and it changes things. I mean, and that's part of my issue with so many spells. I mean, let's take Fireball and Lightning Bolt. Those would be the same spells, essentially. One does an area of effect and one does an arc, but they're still doing the same amount of damage, same saving throws, and the end result is the same. Monster's going to take X damage. So I like that type of stuff to be kind of turned over on its head. Now, that said, I don't want to take that away from the wizard because that's a huge part of their repertoire is to have those damage, causing spells. So I would never want to take that away. All I want to do is give them a greater opportunity to do different stuff with it. And that's kind of the impetus, is that the right word? It's kind of the motivation behind the rune mess. I like the concept. It's like having a bit of more freedom to build custom spells. It is. And you can take them and combine them, and as the players get more comfortable, like Chris has been doing this now for a good couple of years, so now he's really comfortable just combining spells from different schools of rune magic. And for those of you who don't play CNC, there's 12 schools of rune magic. Dream runes, those are the ones I just finished. The dragon runes, the entropy runes, the chaos runes, the blood runes, the winter runes. There's a bunch of them. And that will all be appearing in the Adventurer's Spellbook. Glenn Cook rocks. He's up there with Robert E. Howard. He's a damn good writer. And I need to go revisit a lot of fantasy fiction. I've just kind of dropped off that in the past few years and reading the Tolkien stuff, and it's been a good decade since I read the trilogy. It reminded me how much I actually enjoyed all that fantasy. And if the players use it to bitch slap the monsters, have a monster, yeah, that's the thing. It goes both ways, right? And it allows the CK to do the same thing, I hate against the players, that's not right, but around the players, towards the players, against the players, however you want to put it, with giving it a broader latitude. It is Omut's right though. You got to be careful, and I have to rein Chris in because he doesn't. It builds, and if you let him do X, let's just start with M. If you let him do M on game 1, then on game 2 they're gonna do MN, and then MNO, then MNOP, and then 10 games later you're gonna be going like, what the is going on around here? So you do gotta watch it. My group is using the Divine Knight. I was thinking it was too powerful because it was so versatile. I smiled though when the player said I can cast Prayer or Flame Strike, then I'm done. Great class. I've got a Divine Knight at my table too. And I don't like, there's one thing that slipped in through the editing, I think. And I would like to get everybody's opinion on this. And Ultra Magnus, you're playing one. Omot, you may have one at your table. I want to double check that the Divine Knight's the one that does it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. No, damn it, it's not the Divine Knight. It's the Oath Sworn that I'm not having trouble with. Yeah, the Divine Knight is actually a powerful character. It is a very powerful. His mana is turning out to be pretty powerful, but that's okay. I don't mind it. It's allowed, again, a lot of spells at the table. So I want to ask you guys, for those of you who are familiar, and no one may be familiar, where's the damn class? I hate alphabetical stuff. I'm in OP. It's the Oath Sworn. That's the one it is. Yeah. So on the Oath Sworn, he has an ability called Chosen Weapon. This kicks in at 3rd level. And now it has, for those of you who don't know, in Castles and Crusades, if you have a class ability for your fighter, ranger, whatever, and the ability has the attribute written in parentheticals next to the name, that means you have to make a check for it. So in this case, Chosen Weapon is a charisma check. It has charisma next to it. But I actually really don't like that. I don't think that the class should be making a check each round that they try to parry or they try to whatever it is. So if any of you have played the Oathsworn, let me know your thoughts on that. I would be curious to see what you guys do with that. I really didn't like it. I felt that that's its major ability. The chosen weapon is really the major ability that it brings to the table, and making it a charisma check it seems to weaken it somewhat. Let's see. My group is blah, blah, blah. Yep, I'm looking forward to, and thank you for the compliment, Ultra Magnus. I love that class. Looking forward to 2 more rune spells. Then I'd like to dive in and really think about how I can incorporate these into my games. That'd be cool, Omut. I am going to send them out. I'm hoping to have them all done by Friday in rough draft format, and I'm going to send them to the Kickstarter backers and let people kind of pick them apart because it's going to need it. Cause some of it I wrote with more imaginative play in mind than actual practical play. And at the end of the game, at the end of the day, we still got to have some kind of structure to the table, or it becomes a mayhem. Will the new CKG have content for the Adventurers Backpack classes in it? Probably not, John. I thought about that, but that's going to add 20-odd pages to it. We've already added a bit of content. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Honestly, I would like to pull that first chapter out of the Castle Keeper's Guide and integrate it with the 8th printing of the Player's Handbook, and just make them all 24th level all the way through. So when you get your PH, you get everything that you're going to get up through 24th level. But again, a page count issue comes in. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm torn on those. I have noticed a few things popped up on Facebook where the CKG and the PH contradict themselves, and I want to fix those. And this is one of the things I want to get a fix on. The CKG. I know why it's there. For those of you who don't know, the Castle Keeper's Guide, or the Castles and Crusades, was originally designed to cap out at 13th level. The monsters were designed that way. The game was designed that way, so that you play another class and get back into it and you do something different. But nobody, including myself and including my entire group and including Mac and Davis, who created the system, wanted their characters to cap out at 13th level once we got there. So, so they kept developing. So then I sat down and I created a bunch of rules for what happens to these classes after the 13th level, keeping the Player's Handbook in its original format. I didn't include them in that. I put them in the CKG, and that's where they are. So John's question is, will the 13 classes put in the Adventurer's Backpack have the same treatment in the CKG? And at the moment, I don't think so. Simply because it's going to make the book too big. I'm adding too much stuff to it. We need 2 CKGs. Oathsworn reads like Elder Camille. Very cool. That's what was kind of in the back of the head when it was developed. I kind of wish Gary stuck even closer to fantasy and magic when designing D&D. Imagine a game where a max level magic user can only prepare like 4 spells, one of which banishes an opponent to the moon, one of which just liquidates 1d10 enemies permanently, another curses a man with a big toe that expands to the size of a double-decker bus, and another that just makes an enemy's head fall off. Yeah. Jack Vance's Lyonese trilogy, I highly recommend it. I think it falls right into your wheelhouse. The first 60 pages are rough, but then it picks up. You know, I've tried some Jack Vance, and I've never got into it very much. I need to revisit it, definitely. We have a rune mark in our Wednesday CNC game. Very cool. Tune in on Wednesday at the TLG official. Oh yeah, the Grey Pape's running the game there. All right, no, DM Samuel. Someone's running it. I can't remember, but you're in on it. Yeah, definitely. So that's Wednesday nights. I'll try to hop in tomorrow night and watch. Any idea how long before the Adventure Backpack will be approved for release on Fantasy Grounds? No. Yes, maybe. So the Fantasy Ground is being overhauled at the moment, and we hope to have that done by May 1, and then we just roll out the overhauled rule system. Right on top of that will be the Adventurer's Backpack. I believe it's done for Fantasy Grounds, but it'll have to be brought up to speed to kind of be in sync with the player's hand. Well, no, with the rules set that'll be up there as well. So maybe in May. I know that it's mostly done. I know that it's kind of sitting in the wings now, waiting for us to actually release the CKG. Waiting for us to release the rule set itself. That's where I believe that is with the Fantasy Ground things. If you haven't already given the channel a follow, only 10 more. If you have not followed us, please do so. We're hoping to get to 1,000 followers by close of show today, and we're at like 990. So give us a follow if you can. If you're new to the show, let your friends know. Hop over here. We've got about 25 more minutes to rack it up. And we are giving there's a giveaway today, a $20 something. I don't know. There's some kind of giveaway that Tim or Chuck is doing. So that'll be part of it too here in a little bit. I only played an Oathsworn twice in your game, Steve, and I found the favored weapon charisma check wasn't too onerous, but I had to keep remembering to do it each round. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel as if because we've played him now, he's about 3rd level now. I didn't even notice that it needed a charisma check, and he didn't either, so we just rolled with it. And then when it came up somewhere, I don't know where it came up. Maybe it was in the game I was running the other day online. I thought, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then when I looked at it, it just doesn't fit. I mean, that's their big thing. That's the big thing that they get. So I don't really like them being restricted from it. Let's see. DM Samuel is the DM for tomorrow. It's CK for tomorrow. Yeah, I need to read more Jack Vance. I really do. Only played it, let's see, blah, blah, blah. And we would love to have the head troll stop in and throw some mayhem into our gameplay. That would be cool. I will try to come by, swing in there. Actually, I think my wife is working all night tomorrow night, so I'll have the night free. I'll swing in and see what's up. And you all actually discuss Aired afterward, isn't that right? Great, that would be cool to kind of sit in and just listen to people talk about it. I know that the World Anvil has been picking up lately. We've been seeing a lot of activity on Aired, a new Facebook page on Aired, a lot of stuff's going on. So it's very cool. That's very, very exciting to see all of this, to see people diving into the world. A whole lot of, there's a whole lot there. It's a whole lot to unpack. I love that expression. I don't get to use it very often, but I do love it. I've never got to play CNC. I play 5e and I run Pathfinder 1e. The last few weeks of watching the stream really makes me want to try CNC. Xander, we are really going to try to get some more games. I'm going to try to do more games here on Twitch and just have a rotating constant, people in and out, so they can learn the system and see how insanely easy it is. It's one of those. I don't know. It's aggravatingly easy almost. You play Castles and Crusades and you think, oh, this is just this. This is just attribute checks and nothing else. Until you play at Castles and Crusades 3 or 4 times and you start to realize that the sky is the limit. I mean, there's no restrictions other than your imagination and what the CK is going to put on there. So you suddenly will start doing things that you do in real life. You might not actually be a lumberjack, but you can go out and cut a tree down, and then you'll learn, oh, I've cut 4 trees down. This is how I should be doing it. I cut a 5th tree down. Oh, now I'm getting a little bit better. And you actually improve when you start doing stuff, something that you never knew that you could do before, because that's kind of how the whole Homo sapien thing works, right? That's why we got Twitch. We went from, a guy making a wheel and some fire to Twitch, but that's how we did it. So Castles and Crusades is one of those things. Once you start playing it, you start realizing, and I'm as guilty as everybody. We had published this a good 6 months before I played. Now Davis, I wrote sections of it, but none of the rules. Davis and Mac designed the game, and we were publishing it, printing it, putting it out there, and we were still playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons at the table. Until Mac said, listen, this is great, we love the AD&D game, but we're not playing anymore until we do at least 4 or 5 sessions, or whatever it was, of Castles and Crusades. I said, no, that's fine. So we started a new game. It took me about 2 games, maybe 3 games, to kind of realize the strength of the Siege engine, the versatility of it, and then it was Katie bar the door, and then the other players who weren't part of the design team, that, Todd and Chris and Sarah and Laura, who didn't design like they too started to warm to it, and then within 4 or 5 games, we never looked back. We never picked up the AD&D game again. We just kept playing CNC. It's just one of those games. It's very interesting. Any news about the Plains books? Thingolf, I have actually accidentally written quite a bit on it now. My primary focus at the moment, and Davis's primary focus is finishing the Npc Almanac. My primary focus is finishing the rune spells for the adventure spellbook. But in writing for the runes, for the runes, I wrote an entire huge section on the dreamscape, the dreaming sea. I wrote another section on monsters. I can't even remember. I did this for the Monsters and Treasures of Aired 5th edition, but that ended up being a huge chunk of stuff on Gahana and the Grey Waste as this monster kind of weaves its way in. 2 monsters weave their way in and out of it. So work has accidentally begun, despite myself. So the hope is, I don't think I have any more writing to do on the projects that we've got in the hopper, the Kickstarter stuff. And so I'm really hoping by this week. But I'm gonna have to get on the CKG and the PHB. But I'm really hoping by next week that I can begin to shift gears and into a wholly different sphere. And the first thing I'm going to go into is the Gods and Monsters of Erd, and that's going to allow me to expand into Planescape's kind of what's that word I'm looking for that's next to it? Transcendental? No, I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what word I'm looking for. But in conjunction with tangentially, damn it, what is that word I'm looking at? Whatever. In conjunction with, as I work on the Monsters and Treasures of the Gods and Monsters of Erd, as I create the planes, as I expand the planes, I will mirror these planes in the planescapes. So, for instance, in the world of Erd, the Grey Waste, which is this gigantic section of the Wretched Plains, that's actually Gahana. So, the Grey Waste will become Gahana. You know, I'll create it or move into it as I do the Gods and Monsters of Erd. So, I'm really hoping that I'm fully into it within the next few weeks and months. Any news about that? Okay, what if the ability was passive and if awarded a charisma bonus to attack the damage rolls, you would need a recall to physical roll each time? Wait, did I come in the middle of a conversation? What if the ability was passive? Oh, right, the weapons thing. And it awarded a charisma bonus to attack and damage rolls, you wouldn't need to recall a physical roll each time, at least if it was already accounted for in the bonus. That's an interesting concept. I like that idea, but it's a powerful ability because essentially the Divine Knight, the Oathsworn can do, if they announce it at the beginning of the round, they can do a parry, automatic initiative, I don't know, some other crap like that, disarm, and it's pretty powerful. I mean, it comes with some minuses and bonuses that are pretty stout. So I like it. I just didn't like the idea that you had to roll it each time. And it seemed if you want to parry in the game, you don't have to make a check. You just tell the CK that you're parrying, so there's no... I don't see why, if any fighter can parry, why the Oathsworn, whose special ability is to parry, has to make a check for it. It just doesn't... Logically, it didn't make sense. I think that slipped through all of the editing process, and it's going to get cut from the second printing of the Adventures backpack. And I'm going to get Wayne yelled at again. There you go. Any CNC games running at GaryCon? Yeah, we've got quite a few at GaryCon. I know I'm doing one, if not two. So definitely check the schedule out. I know there's quite a few games on there. And they'll be on the GaryCon Twitch and then mirrored over here, or however that works. Yes, insanely easy, incredibly adaptable. That's the slogan for Castles and Crusades. We're gonna have to pay Omu for that. It's really light. Yeah, this just makes me want to do it more. LOL. Thanks for the response, Steve. No problem. It's a great game. I mean, it really is. Just get a couple of your buddies to sit down and play with you. It's something else. And the Player's Handbook, I believe, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, is still free online. You can go to our web store, our store on the web, and download it. When I checked the GaryCon event catalog of the weekend, the number of CNC games was disappointing. I really don't have time to run something this year, but I've been thinking of running something in a way to fill the gap. I haven't looked at it. That's Tim and Chuck are headlining all that stuff, so I'm not sure where we are on a GaryCon. I know it's been a little bit tougher to find CKs for the virtual stuff than it was for the actual stuff. I'm a lumberjack and I'm okay. I sleep all night. I work all day. Hell yeah. That's some old Monty Python right there. I was considering running a session of CNC at GaryCon, and Gen Con, and FGCon, but I don't have anything short to run. Give us a shout. Just shoot Tim an email. We can get you something if you want to run something there. I know we've got some stuff for free, and there's also other things that we can hook you up, send you some PDFs and some stuff. Any news on Memorial Tomb progress? So I approved the printing of the book yesterday? I don't know, either today or yesterday. Not the book, the box. So the box is being manufactured now. And there's somewhere out there's a bunch of edits that need to go into the book, and when those edits go into the book, we're printing it. And then we're going to print the book, and we're going to print the maps, and we're going to put them in the box. And then we're going to give everybody the option. It's not going to have any of the stretch rewards in it that need to be printed. I think there's 2 extra books, I think. We're going to give everyone the option via backer kit to pay a little bit extra shipping. It'll be like $4 or something like that domestically. that means in the United States. And we're going to ship you the box and the book and the maps. And then when the other stuff comes out, we'll fill that as well. I really just feel like it's time that you guys had something you hold in your hands. I don't want to wait for the stretch rewards. If you guys want to wait for it, that's fantastic. We give you that. Tangential. Whatever that word is. Tangential. I can't say it. It'll come to me later. Thank you. We're going to go with conjunction right now because I cannot say tangent. I want to say genitalia, and it's just not the word I'm looking for. So you guys will be given the option to do whatever you want to do with your pledge. Hey Steve, can you ask Davis to stop using the words life? It gets way too much play. Yeah, he and I both have that problem when we're writing. We'll get a hold of a word and we'll stick with that word and we'll stay with that word for several pages. I've noticed that for quite a while. Whoop, need a spell check. I do apparently. Well. If you think about an expert swordsman having to do a check every round to wield their sword, and then thinking about an Oathsworn having to makes it seem to... It is extraneous. It's just... $5, sweet! I'm taking the slogan over. I'll send you a check. But yeah, that's the thing. I just didn't like it. It just didn't compute. I'm not sure how it slipped by. I wrote the class, so I probably put it there originally. And Mac just stuck with it because he knows I kind of like to restrict some things, but I should have given it more thought. I should have thought that all the way through. Tangential. Okay. Tangent. Yeah. I quit. TLG organized play. It's out there somewhere. I don't know where. I know that Chuck has worked on it. I'm not even that. It's funny you mentioned that. So many things have fallen off the roster as we're doing all kinds of craziness. The raffle has started. Just for that, the raffle has started. Yeah. So organized play is out there. Any thoughts on CNC organized play or something like the DCC? Yes, we are definitely working on that. Not sure where we are. Part of the thing is we're bringing everything up to speed, and once we've done that from websites and the Twitch channel and all this other stuff, it's going to make it a little bit easier. I have Chuck doing many, many, many things. Part of what Chuck wants to do is the organized play, but I've got so many other things that I need him to do just from... And it changes constantly. For instance, he's done this very nice broadside for kind of a history of TLG and what TLG publishes and all this stuff. It's going to be a PDF that's supposed to go in swag bags, digital swag bags for conventions. It's free, you get blah, blah. Well, I didn't like it. I said, I shuck all this to the side, and I want a video. Make a video. Take all that information, put it in a video. Chuck does great videos, and he's like, I just finished his PDF broadside. Yeah. So it's things like that we've got to get, bring the company forward, and then we can dive in, I think, into things like organized play. Nudge, there we go. Will there be any more work done for the CNC version of Starseed? Yes, absolutely. That's part of the whole Planescapes thing. We got work on Venus and Amazing Adventures, 3rd printing, and Planescapes that ties into Starsiege as well. And there will be a Starsiege 2nd edition. It'll be kind of a redoing of the rules. And I might be speaking out of turn, but I'm about 90% certain Jason is done with that and kind of waiting for the final whatever. Tangential. Did I get it? Did I get close? Tangential. These are not the genitalia you are looking for. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go, Xander. Yeah, man, I'm done now. All right, raffle is on way. Just put an exclamation mark raffle to, what are we doing? $20 gift certificate for the store. Definitely, you'll want to get that, all kinds of good stuff over there. Gaxmore is just released, and it's getting accolades all over the internet. So check that thing out. Let's see if I can but see any questions that I might have missed. This is where it gets kind of hairy. You need more trolls indeed. Yes. We'll troll for a raffle. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done around here, and it's good. It's a good thing. Yeah, I was horrified the other day. Davis mentioned, what did he say to me? Something like, I'm writing more, something, I need to cut back on my writing. I can't remember what he said, something like that, but I was mortified. I was like, you know what? No, I actually need you to double what you are writing. I need more writing from you. We're a publishing company, and Jason Vey and Davis Chenault and myself and Brian Young are the primary writers for the company. And Davis at the moment is writing mountains of material. All of it is just unique stuff. So I didn't need him to stop. I needed him to stop thinking that way. The things that seem to be so simple sometimes take longer than expected. A 5e character sheet to me. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Everything, and it's funny too, and I think in the last Kickstarter, pushed the release date 6 months beyond what I thought we could get it done, because we always miss these damn Kickstarter dates, because I always think we can get this done quicker. And there's so many things going on. And it's one reason that we're just pushing projects down the line. They're just going to get pushed until we get these damn things done. Minimally, the MTA, Starship Warden, and the CKG. I want those guys done and out. The Player's Handbook shouldn't be too tough. The hardest one really is going to be that NPC Almanac, because it's got player cards in it, it's got treasure cards in it, it's got just a lot of stuff that we got to put together. Yeah, Epi, I loved your character sheet, and I think Tim talked to you about it. Absolutely loved it for the white box. I don't like the one that we have in there now. You know, it's just the character sheet shrunk down. And you can't. It's too tiny. It's just too small. But yours was cool because it had nice big boxes. You know, if you still have that, reach out to us. I'd like to talk to you about that. And that would be very cool. That'd be better than one we got. And that white box is very popular. People really like it. At the risk of sounding like an irritant, I'll offer my services as a published author. Well, there you go. I did not know you were a published author. Well, you're talking to Tim, so reach out to Tim. Yeah, Epi, it was very cool. I liked it much better than what's in there now. And I love that white box set. I like everything about that white box set except the character sheet. So, getting a better character sheet would be even cooler. So I think the raffle's still going on for anyone who's just joined us. If you have not, please give us a follow. We got like 5 minutes. Did we even get close? I don't know how to see where my followers are. Is it up here? We are 9 followers away from making 1,000. So if you have not, please give us a follow. If you know someone out there, throw them over our way and tell them to give us a follow. It's not the original one, Omut, that came out in 2004. It's the newer white box. The one with 5 books in it. I think the advanced one had 7, maybe. Some dice, a pencil, character reference sheets, and then the reference sheets. So that's the one. That's the one I'm talking about. So, yes, it's very popular. Very cool. Very interesting. All right. Give us a follow if you can. Oh, wait. I'm not sure if the question just fell through. As cyberpunk as a genre is very, very popular right now. Any ideas about Brimstone and the Borderhounds? I liked the cyberpunk version of Hell so much, man. You know, I need to reach out. I hadn't thought about that in quite a few months. I cannot express to you as a gamer, forget publisher side of things, but as a gamer, how much I loved the concept behind the Borderlands, Brimstone and the Borderlands. It was just badass, and it needn't involve Brimstone. He's just a backdrop. The basic concept is these devils have escaped from hell, and they've plunged into the whatever verse, and you're a bounty hunter. You and your buddies are a bounty hunter, and you've got to chase them down. The number of scenarios is almost limitless. The action is great. Concepts are very cool. I mean, everything about that Brimstone and the Borderhounds I loved. For those of you who don't know, that is a project that we worked with a comic book creator. Brim is his name. He's huge on Twitter. Check him out. He's got a great radio show. But he did a comic book called Brimstone and the Borderhounds. And it was just cool. It was just a really cool, kind of adult-oriented comic book. And we did a Kickstarter where we were going to do a Siege Engine version of that. It did not take off for a variety of reasons. Some of it miscommunication between me and Brim in a very friendly, good-natured sort of way. We still talk. Brim's a great guy. I hadn't thought about that in a while. It might be worth revisiting that. I love the concept of it. We've got more artists on deck, and I don't know. I just really like the concept of that. Any thought of doing something different in placing your product out there, like a classical style scroll with a map on it? We've done a little bit of that in the past. The biggest bump we've had, in the past year or so, we've had a it's been about 3 years, but the past, probably the pandemic keeping people locked up, we've had a huge surge in interest in Castles and Crusades, and I think as people are kind of moving on from 5th edition. But Canadian Ancient Gamer, I'm always looking at new ways to present the product and to push the product out there and to get the brand out there. And I honestly believe at the moment the best way is for me or Davis or somebody to get up on here that represents the company and game on Twitch, because this seems to be a great place where people are communicating, and it can spill out from there. But I love the idea of maps, and we are talking with Noble Dwarf. I'm not sure where we are in the conversations. I know the store is up and loaded, and I think we had to add some ad copy to some stuff, but that's what you're talking about. There'll be a really cool kind of canvas maps available there. Omoot1, very cool. Congratulations, Omoot. Very, very cool. Let's see, Sup Nerds, how's it going? Hot Chantel, haven't seen you in a while. Hope all is well with in your neck of the woods. Hey, Piper, hadn't seen you in a few weeks, too. Yeah, Noble Dwarf stuff is it's beautiful stuff. It's absolutely beautiful stuff. So we've got that kind of set up, and I'm not sure where we are on opening the store for business. Man, I just completely lost my train of thought. I just came completely off the rails. There you go. That's the way it is. It's getting close to dinner time, and I got some pork upstairs roasted in Dr. Pepper, so it's going to be delicious. It's just good stuff. But anyone else, ask any questions that you have. We'd like to answer. We'll be here for another minute or so. I don't think we're going to make 1,000 followers by close of the show. We would need 9 new followers. Show's got just a couple of minutes left, but there you go. Isn't that a waste of Dr. Pepper? Wait, pork marinated in Dr. Pepper? Yeah, so the recipe years ago called for it's a tenderloin. I don't cook. I just don't. I don't know how to do it. I can make mac and cheese. That's about all I can do in a roast. But it's a pork tenderloin. Does that sound right? And the recipe called for it to be soaked in Coke. We didn't have any Coke. So my wife, who, thank God, she cooks dinner because I cannot. We would all starve to death if it was up to me. She put Dr. Pepper there instead, and man, was it delicious. I don't even care for pork that much. I'll eat it. It's okay. But man, it made it good. Pet pants, don't try to justify you either. It was good, I'm telling you, it was good. You drink the leftover Dr. Pepper at the end, just hold it up and pour it into your... Nah, I couldn't do that. Dr. Pepper in a can and only can. Fantasy Ground updates. Piper, we are looking at hopefully May 1 for the rule set to be completely overhauled. And then we'll start rolling stuff out. We're hoping an adventure every 2 weeks. That's the plan. And they're working on the adventures now. They're working on the adventures backpack now, too. So I'm hoping, and that's just around the corner. That's just a couple months down the road. So what are we, 2.5 months? Something like that. So good stuff. You drink the leftover Dr. Pepper. Never. The sodas, specifically Coke and Dr. Pepper, are amazing as marionettes. Yeah, it was good. I just threw it in my mouth. It was not good to Doran. Doran did not find it good. I do my pulled pork and Coke, but Dr. Pepper would just work as well. Yeah, it was good, I gotta say. And I like Coke well enough. I only drink Coke on ice, but it was something else. If it has Dr. Pepper, Steve is there. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Dr. Pepper. It's calling to me right now. It's over in that fridge right over there, and it's calling to me. Have you ever done a figure set, miniatures for Trollers? We did. We did 4 miniatures, the Fighter, Cleric, Wizard, and Rogue. Back in 2006, I still have the molds around here somewhere. I think they're in the mailroom. We've got the molds there, and we've got maybe 20 of each. So there is that. We've talked to Reaper about redoing them. We've talked to, was it Dark Sword Miniatures, and someone else. And then we've even explored doing 3D printed miniatures, and kind of toyed with that, but haven't found a good sculptor for that. Which I'd love to get into the miniatures game. I would love to get into the miniatures game, particularly from a 3D printing perspective, simply because, it would be a great asset to add to the Castles and Crusades universe for people out there who have 3D printers and download it and move on. It's just really cool. Yeah, and Reaper is just fantastic. I drink my Coke with rye. There you go. I would love to see the new Jason Walton covers as high-res wallpapers. That is part of the Kickstarter, I believe, so you will definitely see that. Those man, those paintings are just something else. He just outdid himself. And the Starship Warden, too. I love his interpretation of the Warden. I don't just every bit of it. Corvus Belly does the best minis. I'll have to check them out. I need more miniatures of wizards with cowboy hats. Everybody needs more miniatures with cowboy hats. What was that movie? If you haven't seen it, Cowboys vs. Aliens, watch it. It's a great movie, a lot of fun. It's got Harrison Ford in it. You can't go wrong. Peter Bradley got me started on that. Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Good old Peter Bradley. He's literally finishing Starship Warden as we speak. He thinks he'll have it done today, so he's ass deep in layout. Or the troll where the ones are. Yeah. Send over your 3D STLs and I will print them, and there you go. There you go. See, we had 4 made, but they're not really printable, I was told. They're only printable by a certain type of printer and blah, blah, blah. So we got to, when we revisit that, I'm going to have to get a little bit more involved with the sculpting side. Not that I know how to sculpt anything, but yeah, a little more hands-on. Cowboys and Aliens began as a webcomic. Read it before the movie came out. Tons of fun. Yeah, it's just cool. It's just cool. I love cowboys. I'm a huge fan of the Old West. I love John Wayne movies and Clint Eastwood and all of that. Jimmy Stewart, all of that stuff. But Cowboys versus Aliens is right up my alley. I like explosions and gunfights. Glad to see you up for nap old timer. Having seen Hollywood Homicide, I can say with confidence that with Harrison Ford, you can in fact go wrong. I've never seen Hollywood Homicide. I love Harrison Ford. He's so funny. He's got such a fantastic delivery on just about anything he does. He and Mel Gibson both are just, and I know Mel's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit, but Mel Gibson is a fantastic actor. He does fantastic movies. If you haven't seen Get the Gringo, I highly recommend it. Fantastic movie. My wife studied food chemistry as a home ec teacher. The sugar in marionettes breaks down the meat fibers to make it tender. Oh, that's very interesting. And there's a lot of sugar in Dr. Pepper. So, Reaper may be a good direction for it. And I love Reaper stuff. The Force Awakens. Is that one of the I can't remember the Star Wars movies. Is that that's like the first and the last trilogy. Is that right? I used to love home ec class. Do they still do that? I don't think so. Harrison Ford has plenty of turkeys for sure. Reaper Bone style minis. I think we made cookies like 10 times. There you go. And thank you for the subscription, Ultra Magnus. Very much appreciated. On that, we did miss our goal of 1,000 followers by close of the stream, but that's okay. I thank you all for joining in the fun, and thank you everybody for questions and follows and the subscriptions and all of that stuff. As for me, I'm going to wander on now. Congratulations, Omut, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. And we got a game tomorrow night with DM Samuel, and Grape Ape is in that. And then we've got GM Tricks of the Trade on Thursday at 4. And probably more that I have completely forgotten about. But definitely, everybody, thanks again for a great Ask Me Anything. And we will see you in the next few days. I saw in the chat that we are getting our merchandise restocked. Excellent. Okay. All right, that's it for me. Hey, well, good there, Canadian. At least you're vaccinated up. My wife got hers and all that, so she's good. So is Todd. Todd, one of the trolls, got vaccinated. All right, everybody. Y'all have a great evening. I am off, and we will see you later.